journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is a vibrant community built on innovation, academic excellence, and a 64-year legacy of shaping community leaders. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, inviting you to visit the mountain and experience firsthand the passion, purpose, and personalized education that defines our school. Come see how our mission and vision come to life each day. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
National headlines and the local stories you care about. WLBB, Carrollton, News Talk 1330, FM 106.3.
Time right now is 8:30. Good morning. Welcome to the WLBB Community Voice here on News Talk 1330, FM 106.3. My name's Colin Worthington. My guest this morning, handsome young man out of the city of Villa Rica. He's an attorney, and you're going to hear a lot about him, if you haven't already, here in the next couple of weeks, as he's representing a gentleman who will be tried. A case that's gone on for 10 years, we decided, right? This September will be 10 years. My guest this morning is Mac Pilgrim. He'll be defending A.J. Scott in a trial that starts, I think, 1 week from this coming Monday. Correct. Is that? Okay. And that... When that trial does start, I mean, let's start with jury selection, right? That's at the first.
It will. It will start with jury selection. There are a few motions that need to be heard during the jury wrangling, I like to call it, or assembly, and then we'll start jury selection that Monday.
How difficult will it be to select a jury for this case, and how difficult did the press, ourselves, how to?
And if I can do something right before we start, today's August 8th. Today is my mama's birthday. So happy birthday, Mama! Anybody knows her? Carolyn Pilgrim, Miss Carol, to a lot of children. Her children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. She turned 79 years old today, so happy birthday, Mama.
You're a good boy.
So now, back to other things. We do anticipate it's going to be a lengthy jury selection process. I think the clerk, Alan Lee, is calling in some extra, he sounds some extra subpoenas, or summons, to get jurors in. I do think, based on the publicity of this case and the social media, it's going to be hard to find people who may not already have an opinion on it, and that's what you look for is people who don't carry biases or opinions about a case before it starts. So we'll just have to take it, juror by juror. So
when you see this coverage, I mean, even, I'm just as guilty as anybody. When you see that coverage, I mean, it's kind of tick you off, or you just say, hey, you know what, it's going to happen.
No, the world we live in, and I'm a big proponent of this. We've talked off the air, and I'll say it now. I'm a big proponent of openness. Only thing I ask of people, I ask of myself, I ask of others, is to keep an open mind. There is always more than one side of the story, no matter how you feel. I've explained to people for years. I'm a sports fan. I'm a Braves fan. I watch a pitch, I think it's outside. If I'm a Dodgers fan, hey, it caught the bat, it caught the black. You see the same thing differently, and you have to be willing to accept the idea that someone may see it differently than you. And that doesn't mean you're wrong, they're wrong, you're right. You both have a perspective, and that's the only thing I ask people, to keep an open mind.
And I'm not sure what, I may ask stuff and you may not be able to answer, or you just won't, which would make sense. But, I mean, do you have something in this case that you want to prove? I mean, is there one thing that you need to prove?
Well, the jurisprudence in the United States requires the state to meet the burden of proof. Sure. Always solely. The defense has to put nothing up. And that is the way our Constitution reads. That is the way the laws are enforced, that the state has to meet the burden of proof. So, no, I don't have to prove anything necessarily. I do think it's what I hope to happen is that the jury, particularly, and I don't mean this in any negative connotation, it does not matter what the community around thinks. It does not matter what the listeners here or the tweeters or the readers or whomever else thinks. It's what the 12 people in that box think. Mm-hmm. That's what matters. And for them, I hope they are willing to look at this openly and make decisions based on the evidence and not on emotion or feeling or prejudice or bias. I hope that's what we hope for in any case.
Do you watch crime docs?
I do. I will admit I do this for a living, and I watch Law and Order. I watch First 48. I'm like everyone else in that regard. I always have from I was a child. My mother, who I just mentioned, probably one of the reasons I became a lawyer is we used to watch shows like Car 54. We would watch Ironsides. We would watch Perry Mason. Cops and police shows from the time I was a child. I've watched them. So yes, I do.
The new one that was out on Netflix, the Idaho murders.
I did not keep up with that.
I didn't keep up with the actual case when it was happening so much, but that documentary just showing and reminding me how bad media can be, how bad the media can be. You can kind of lose their humanity when they're covering cases, just like this, and the social media too, how they target people.
And that's a new world. The social media, people my age, that's something that came along in our 30s, late 20s, early 30s, and that has changed the way, because instantaneously you can share an idea, you can share a thought, you can share a bias, a prejudice, you can share a good idea with millions of people if you have millions of followers, and that's a new thing. And so it's something, it changes the way even the legal profession is done. Do you or your client, you guys watch the social media concerning this case and the people who may be involved? I tell my client, in particular this case, but I tell my client probably to ignore most of it. But yes, we do. Of course we do. We're in the modern world, and of course we do. I can't speak for how much he looks at it. I tell him not to. I tell his family not to. But he's got a wife. He's got children, stepchildren. He's got mother. They've seen it. They can't help but see it. It's in your daily activities. Imagine telling your grandfather, in 1964, hey, you're going to take this thing out and scroll through it, and you're going to see what everybody in the world says. It's changed. But, yeah, they've seen it, and I've seen it, and, of course, we watch them.
Have you ever seen anything online that might change the way you present something?
Yeah. I mean, it gives you, because obviously whatever you tell a jury, you want them to be receptive to. So there's nothing wrong with, like a good politician, licking the thumb and sticking it in the wind to see which way it's blowing. And it may, again, online personalities and personas in real life are two different things. Many people, I like to call them keyboard warriors, are not who they really are in real life. So sometimes you have to weigh that and take it with a grain of salt. All
right, Villarica-based Attorney Mac Pilgrim, our guest on this morning's Community Voice. We are focusing on the trial of A.J. Scott, which does begin a week from this coming Monday. It's been 10 years in the making. We'll talk more about that in our next segments. But, before we go to our first break, let me ask you, why did you choose to be a defense attorney? Why didn't you become an ambulance chaser or a prosecutor or something else?
Now, ambulance chaser is not a bad word.
I wasn't suggesting.
You don't make money chasing ambulances. You got to catch them. Honestly, I do quite a bit of civil work as well. I do quite a bit of personal injury work. And I have for years. When I was in law school, I started with a guy who did personal injury in Atlanta, and then I ended up working for John Foy after law school for a number of years. And then
Strong Arm.
Yeah, the Strong Arm, John. And so I worked for him for about 5 years, and then I started my own. So I do both. But yeah, prosecutor, I never had an interest in it. I had always seemed to be defense-minded. And I will say this, I think in the legal profession, between the prosecution and the defense, there's a basic diametric opposition, if you will. You either see the law as a sword or a shield. If you see it as a sword that you smite people, you keep them from doing wrong, you enforce the rules, you keep them in line, that's a sword. If you see it as a shield that uses to protect the people are protected from the government, people are protected from the law, then you're more on the defense side.
I think it's easy to be mad or be angry towards defense attorneys more so than anything. And I've been in that position myself. My family's been hurt, and I'm mad at the defense attorney for defending those other people when I'm like, you are clearly in the wrong, but yet you would do that. But if you come to the point where you need one, you're going to go after that same person, right?
I would hope so, and I am a firm believer that if we as a society, locally, nationally, statewide, if we cannot ensure that those who possibly, based on their behavior or maybe not, receive the best possible defense, if we can't ensure that for them, then how can we ensure it for everyone else? the person who may have done bad things in their life and may not be, quote unquote, qualified to receive a defense. If you cannot protect his or her rights to the utmost of your ability, then how can you assure that your brother or your sister or your grandmother or your niece or nephew have the same protection? You can't. You have to. And I'm a firm believer in this, that is the only way our system, and it is not perfect. It is still one of the best in the world. People come here to learn about it. That if you do not protect those who probably least deserve it, then how can you protect those who do?
How many clients does your firm have right now?
Oh, we'd have to look. We've got 1,500 cases. There's 5 of us, so we got a few.
Well, how can you possibly give everybody the attention that they need for those cases?
We have quite a bit of support staff, and I tell people, particularly for instance, when it comes to trial time, I'm not doing anything but your trial, and you have my full attention. And a lot of it comes from experience, the ability to kind of know. I like to say what's around the curve. You see around the curve because you've been around the curve a few times, so that's helpful. It allows you to represent and the law is also based largely on what's called precedent, what's happened before, and facts that fit your case and evidence fits your case, and some of that we know already. Of course, it's changing. The law changes, in Georgia every July 1st and January 1st. But there are certain things that change precedent. So yeah, we've got quite a few. I think I'd have to look. I think it's 1,500.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, time right now is 8:40. We'll take our first break. We'll come back, and I know we kind of just jumped into the middle of that case when we started it out. I mean, I really didn't know how else to start. But when we come back from this first commercial break, we'll go back 10 years and kind of find out how we got to this place, and of course comment, because there'll be some things that happened that maybe you can give me some more detail on why they happened. We'll do that after this first break. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Do the math. At Oak Mountain Academy, our average graduating class has just 12 students. We celebrate a 100% graduation rate with more than $10.5 million in college scholarships offered. Plus, 96% of our students are accepted into their top choice college. Do the math. Can you see the value of an OMA education? I'm Patrick Uran, head of school at Oak Mountain Academy, and I'm here to help you do the math. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us so that you can discover your journey on the mountain, where every path leads to purpose.
All right, 8:42. Welcome back to the Community Voice program here on News Talk 1330 FM 106.3. Also streaming live online at newstalk1330.com and the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. My name's Colin Worthington. My guest this morning is Villa Rica-based Attorney Mac Pilgrim. He is representing A.J. Scott. Now, the criminal case against the former state trooper, current Buchanan mayor, A.J. Scott, involves a fatal traffic collision and subsequent trial delays and procedural complexities. September 26, 2015. Then Trooper Scott was involved in the crash while allegedly driving at high speed without emergency lights or sirens. Do you guys accept that he was speeding?
I can't comment on that. I think that invades the province of the jury, and I can't do anything to jeopardize the trial. Okay. And go into the province of the jury and what decision I would make.
Well, the collision did result in the deaths of 2 teenagers, severe injuries to 2 others. At that time, Scott was charged with multiple offenses, and I think were they just misdemeanors initially?
There were,
or it was maybe second degree.
It was a combination of misdemeanor and felonies.
Okay.
He was originally indicted on. That's correct.
Right, in August 2017, he was indicted.
Well,
then
it was presented to the grand jury originally.
Okay.
Under Mr. Scandalakis was a DA, the grand jury no-billed it. And then subsequently, it was indicted and it was true-billed through Herb Cranford's administration. And then that one is the one we had the trial on, that indictment. And, well, actually, there was one in between that as well. There was an accusation or indictment was returned, and then there was a supersedious indictment, which is what we had the trial on back in 2009.
And you mentioned Scandalakis and you mentioned Herb, but we have a third DA who is working on this. In that 10-year period, there's been 2 or 3 DAs who have had this case, who have overseen this case.
There has been, however, the Carroll County or the West Georgia Judicial Circuit, Sarah Japor, they have nothing to do with this latest version.
Right.
After the mistrial back in 2009, there was a recusals that took place from their office. At the time was the Coweta Judicial Circuit. It has been reassigned to a assistant district attorney out of DeKalb County, and I'm assuming it was through the PAC, was the Prosecutor Attorney's Council. I don't know, but that's
the Attorney General.
It may be the AG's office. I don't want to tell you exactly how that happened, but it was reassigned, and that's the ADA, Heather Waters, out of DeKalb County, has been assigned the case.
Well, it's rare for a case to go 10 years, much less have 3 different groups that have to. I mean, they pretty much have to start all over again, right? Every time that they are looking at that case.
I mean, they have to, and you would want to start anew and have your own vantage point and viewpoints, decisions at integral parts of the case. Yes. It is definitely an unusual case. There's no doubt about that. It's just it's a tragedy. I don't want to make light of that. 2 young girls lost their life.
Absolutely.
And I'm a parent. I'm a father. I'm now a grandfather. 2 young babies lost their life that day, and there's absolutely nothing that can be said or done that will fill that void for these families. And I am very, very sorry for that. And I never want that to be misunderstood. I feel horribly for those families. I feel horrible for them having to go back through this again. Mm-hmm. I have a job to do. I'm going to do my job, but that does not change my position personally that you have children. I have still 2 young children. I have 2 20-year-olds, it's hard to believe, that drive and ride on cars and have driven since teenage years. This is horrible. And it's a tragedy, and there are absolutely no winners in this. There's only losers.
Now we're about halfway through the show, and I know I really have just not delved into all the what has been presented as facts so far. I haven't delved into it because I assume at this point most everybody watching the show is caught up to date. So, and this is a half-hour program, so if there's something that I don't touch on that you don't think maybe post it to the Facebook page, and we'll try and go over that. Now, there was a first trial and a mistrial.
Yes.
You referred to talk about the mistrial.
I can tell you what's public record. Obviously, is that during the course of the trial, there was a discovery made on our behalf that 2 of the state's witnesses, the State Patrol skirt team officers who had testified in the trial, had developed a potential secondary theory, and I'm not going to go into what that is because I have to be careful what I say.
Can I say that?
You can say whatever you want to. Okay. I can't. But the FCC rules what you say. I have different folks. But, there was a theory that was developed that was not provided to us. And based on that, and Judge Simpson was the presiding judge. You can read his opinion on that. It's public record. Anybody can go online and look it up. You can go to the clerk's website and find it. But there was some evidence that wasn't provided to us. That was a theory they were working on, and that theory was not divulged to us prior to their testimony.
And that's supposed to be presented, before the trial actually starts, everything that you're going to show?
Yes, it should be. If you have experts, and those officers would have been considered experts. They were tendered as experts, and the law in Georgia says that if experts to testify, you have to give the other, and for my side as well as the state, a reciprocal discovery. You have to give them, you don't have to give them a word-for-word description of what they're going to say, but you have to give them an overall theory. If any reports they create, any sort of evidence that they may testify to, you have to make the other side aware of it. And that didn't happen.
They also superimposed maybe something on a video? Was it?
There was, during closing argument, there was...
The prosecution?
The prosecution, what I consider to be an alteration of the original dash cam. And that went up during closing arguments and objected at the time. And the judge did not grant a mistrial on that particular issue, actually. It was after the discovery was made of the trooper's theory that was not explained. That was the reason, the basis. And again, it's in the judge's order.
And the jury was deadlocked after that one, right? Wasn't it?
I don't want to say deadlocked. They had not quite said that.
Okay.
They had come back and had advised the judge that they had taken a vote on some issues. Don't know what those were. Don't know which counts they had decided on, but they had not decided on all of the counts. So I don't know what they were. If they were truly deadlocked, and that was going to result in a mistrial that way, I don't know that answer.
And at that point, well, that was Herb Cranford and Judge Simpson. They recused themselves.
They
right?
did.
They weren't forced to step down or anything.
There was some things that happened thereafter which I had absolutely nothing to do with, and I want to make very, very clear that.
Damn media again, too. Was involved.
But I had nothing to do with what happened afterward. My job is to represent my client in that courtroom, and that's what I do. What happened afterward was not me. And
that's where we are now. Is that as far as you're trying to defend your client, I mean, are you happy if it's a deadlock? I mean, if they can't come back, I mean, that's a victory for you, right? I mean, is that...
Well, yeah, and that's the interesting thing about this profession on the defense side is oftentimes people ask, what's your win and loss record? And it's just not that clear. Oftentimes people are charged with, let's say, 6 counts of indictment. And if you were to get not guilty on 4 of them, they could still be convicted and go to prison on the charge, but that would technically be considered a win. If a person was eligible for 50 years in prison, they are only sentenced to 5, or they're only found guilty of misdemeanor, not felony. Those are considered wins. But so the win and loss is a little bit. So the answer is a deadlock. Yeah, you're happy about it because your client walks out of there not in handcuffs. So that's a good thing. But there also is the opportunity to be retried, which we're at now.
And I don't know if you're aware of this. In not admitting guilt, has AJ ever apologized just for the incident publicly or to the family somehow?
No, he hasn't, and honestly, that has been because of. I say that you would have to ask him, but he's not done it. But some of it's been because of my advice. Yeah. Just when you're facing these sort of charges, you don't want to make any admissions in public. You can look at his transcript from the first trial. He did testify, and you can hear what he said during those days. I will tell you, he has lived with this for 10 years, and it has not been light on his heart. I can tell you that much.
Okay. Time right now is 8:50. We'll take our final break and come back and conclude our conversation with Mac Pilgrim, Villa Rica-based attorney. If you do have any questions or comments, please post those to the News Talk 1330 WLBB Facebook page. And in that 15-second break, I'll try and take a look at them and share them on this morning's program. Otherwise, maybe we'll skip to another subject, or we'll touch a couple more things here on this trial, which is coming up a week from this Monday. And you do expect a lot of coverage at the trial, right? I mean, Atlanta comes here for the bad stuff. I mean, they're not coming here to celebrate things, but they're going to come here for that, and it may be even national coverage, right?
I don't know. I do anticipate that it was covered last time pretty extensively. Mm-hmm. I expect it to be covered this time. And again, as I said, I'm a proponent of people's eyes being in the courtroom. We, as a society, need to know what happens in the courtroom and why it happens and who it happens to and what the reality is, and not necessarily what the image or is projected on social media, what really happens. And I think it's important that we know.
Now, the charges, it's vehicular homicide?
Well, he's charged with vehicular homicide ×2, serious injury by motor vehicle, speeding, and reckless driving.
Now, what did those say? What is the charge of vehicular homicide? What is it that... I mean, but I assume you'll try to take something out of what that actual...
Well, and I don't have the indictment in front of me, but I don't want to give the exact verbiage. But vehicular homicide in the state of Georgia is simply a death of a human being that results from an automobile collision or accident. That's the Cliff Notes version of the law.
That you caused?
It can be that you caused, yes. You don't have to be at fault in some way. And that gets into the little bit of, it's called proximate cause, is what's required. And anyone can look this up. It's in, you got a tablet, a phone, you can literally look it up and it'll give you the code section.
All right, 8:54. We'll take that final break right now, and we'll come back and we'll conclude our show. If I don't see any other questions or comments here, we talk about the Dylan Gable.
That'd be just fine.
That was the last Monday, I think.
That's fine.
All right, Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.
Imagine a place where every heartbeat is monitored with the utmost care, where emergencies are met with swift attention, and where cutting-edge technology enables precise and timely treatments. At Tanner Health, Every patient's journey is a testament to resilience, a story of strength, healing, and hope. We go beyond treatment to redefine what compassionate care truly means. That's Tanner Health. That's care redefined. Learn more at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy specializes in a customized designed academic approach tailored to meet the needs of our families. Our lower division prepares students with the necessary foundation to build excellence. Our middle division provides students with over 15 course offerings, providing them with opportunities to explore their talents and gifts. Our upper division provides personalized academic journeys, allowing them to achieve their dreams. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us, where every path leads to purpose.
All right, 8:55. Welcome back to the Community Voice on this Friday. My name's Colin Worthington. My guest is Villa Rica-based attorney Mac Pilgrim. If you missed any of this program, it's available on our podcast at about 9:05 this morning at newstalk1330.com, and of course it'll be on Facebook for a month or whenever they decide to take it down. But it will be up on YouTube forever as well, so you can go back and watch that if you missed any of it. This past Monday, another one of your clients, Dylan Gable, former Mount Zion student, he was accused of plotting the murder of at least one other student at Central High School, and some terroristic threats. I think there's some information found on his phone. That ended up, he's been in jail the whole time. He didn't get bail, so he was in jail for close to 6 months when this plea deal was met on Monday. Do you have hope for this young man that he can,
I do.
live a promising and beneficial life to the rest of the community?
I do, and in this I can be a little bit more open about because the case is resolved. Mr. Gable was 17 years old. Mm-hmm. Mr. Gable was in a relationship with a young lady, and the young lady's ex-boyfriend was the victim of this case. And I want to give credit, and I won't mention their names, but that victim's mother and grandmother met with the district attorney's office. And we oftentimes hear about people having Christian values and Christian beliefs. And we oftentimes forget that grace and forgiveness is part of that. Those two people, along with the victim, told the district attorney's office they did not want to ruin my client's life. They did not want to send him to prison. They hoped that this 6-month time in jail, which, by the way, he was a junior in high school, and he spent 6 months in county jail with adults. They did not want to see it ruin his life. So credit to them, because that is what you hope people would be and what the extension of grace that you hope people would show. And they did. He made a horrible, horrible decision. He made a horrible decision to be essentially led by the nose by a young lady and got him in a horrible place. And the two young ladies were involved are juveniles, and I'm not going to mention their names. They were handled in juvenile court. It was horrible. He is a meek, mild young man, and I know some things online have been written about him are just not true. He is a young man, has a future, had played baseball, was in the band at one point in time, had members of I've spoken to members of the school system where he went to school, his family. This is his opportunity. I know some people didn't like it, but again, I asked, before you pass judgment, get a little bit more information. And that's, I feel very happy. I feel like that was a good result for him, and I think it's a good result for the community as a whole. I don't think we'll see Dylan Gable ever again in a courtroom.
But for you, that is a victory, right? As we talked about it, in the last segment or so, that is a victory. On the other side of that, I mean, there's people that are like, okay, well, it did appear that there were some things that were plotted, and so so I can see both sides as far as people that are frustrated that happened. It's like, wow, what if he actually did follow through and hurt this guy?
I understand that. And again, I mentioned to you previously in the interview, we're from a different generation. Mm-hmm. There were times that we may have gotten mad and said things about people, or I'd like to do things to people that we never did. But we didn't memorialize it digitally, which is now what happened here. Yeah. And we've all done it. If you've not driven and said, and said something to someone driving, or you had in-laws or cousins or ex-wives or ex-husbands, and you said things that really didn't mean it. You really weren't going to do it, but you said it, and we're all guilty of that. And that is what we have here, except, again, unfortunately, it is digital evidence, and it doesn't ever go away. It's a footprint, which I've told my children and everybody else. Once it's out there, it's out there. So, situation. I'm very happy for Dylan Gable and Dylan Gable's family, but I'm also very, I guess, thankful for the victim's family, because they did something that most people can't do.
I couldn't.
And they did. And I thank you for that. And I think they'll be blessed for that.
Mac Pilgrim, our guest on this morning's Community Voice program, thank you very much for coming out.
Welcome.
I mean, it's really cool that you agreed to do this.
I do want to do one thing.
All right, you have 30 seconds, Mac.
30 seconds. I'm married there. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to say this for the first time publicly. On April the 4th of this year, I had a stroke. I was hospitalized for a couple of days. I have been on a series of medications, doctor's visits. I've just returned full-time about the last 3 weeks. So this was not a delay tactic. I've never had a jury trial in my 20 years of being an attorney that I ran from. I never run from a jury trial. I've tried 160, 70 cases through the years, civil, criminal, magistrate, you name it. I've been in most every court, federal courts, court of appeals. I never run for one, and I'm not running from this one. If I could have avoided a stroke, trust me, I would have done that. It was a TIA. Luckily, it wasn't permanent. I don't think I have any permanent ramifications, but I want to put that out there. I never ran from anything, and I won't run from this one, and it was no ploy of any sort. So those of you who think that, you can tweet it, write it, post it, comment on it, write on post board, put it on your refrigerator. That's the truth.
All right, Josh, I appreciate you holding back the top of the hour and the news there for us.
Sorry.
It's quite all right. I'm glad you got that out. I mean, it's something I did consider talking to you about, because it was out there. I mean, it was, as soon as it was delayed, because it has been delayed for so long, and then for something else to delay it 3 or 4 months. But, I mean, not that I was looking for certification, something to certify that did happen. I mean, a friend of mine who was an officer, he was there. I mean, he saw it happen.
He did.
And I'll say that he is somebody who actually spoke highly of you as a person and as a defense attorney. And I had a guest on a program recently who's a little bit higher up and said you were the most ethical of our local attorneys, defense attorneys. And again, we joke, where's the bar for that? But yeah, hey, I mean, that's
I did want to put that out there. I haven't said it before then, and I just wanted to say it. My wife was, when I was recuperating, she was very hesitant to let me go on social media. She's like, no, you don't need to see that. And eventually I saw it, and I don't mind. I'm like anyone else. It ticked me off, and I thought, they're entitled to their opinion. They don't know the whole facts. They're entitled to it the same way, I'm entitled to mine. So they can have their opinion, but the truth, that's the truth.
And then that's your excuse for this girlish figure you have now, right? You've lost about 40 pounds.
I have, and I need it. As I kidded, having a stroke may be the best health event that's happened to me in the last 20 years. It woke me up, really, to a lot of things I had just stuck my head in the sand about. And I needed to do better, and hopefully I am, and I will.
Well, thank you. Congratulations on that. Making improvements in your life. I mean, physical. Yeah. I'm sure your wife appreciates that. I'm sure she was as scared as you were, or more so.
When you get a call from your spouse and say, hey, I may have had a stroke, I'm at the emergency room, I told her, don't be concerned or don't be alarmed, I think, which is probably not a good way to start things.
Yeah. All right. Well, again, thanks for coming out. I mean, very good of you to come here and talk about this and just talk about your work with us.
Thank you, brother.
Absolutely.
Always good. As Mitch Gray used to say, it's good time spending time with the hat, Colin Worthington.
Fair enough. All right. Again, thank you. And thank you for watching and listening this morning. Again, if you missed any of it, it'll be available in podcast form on our website, newstalk1330.com, and it'll be on YouTube, the entire thing, forever. So thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend, everybody. We'll be back here on Monday. Steve Graddick, I'm not sure. I think he has Pregnancy Resource Center. I think that'll be on the program Monday at 8:30, so tune in for that. Community Voice brought to you by Tanner Health and Oak Mountain Academy.